Hi guys, I'm back. How are you? How are you doing? So with this lecture, we are going to talk about the very first one. This is about the very basic concept about in the physiology. So let's bring this up. The chapter 1. Let's see. Share screen. Yes, so that's this one here. Share. All right. So that's us. That is this one here. That is this one here. How would that work? Okay. We can make this one far away. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this one. So this one, chapter 1, introduction. This is about the homeostasis, the introduction of physiology. So what is physiology? Physiology is the function of body organ system. So that's what we are going to learn. We are going to learn physiology, the function of the body. The thing about physiology is that there's still a lot we don't know. We don't know how important. We know a lot, but there's still a lot that we don't know. There is still a lot of research going on to understand how body function. Very simple, like how important is sleeping? We don't know. We have some idea. We gain more idea about the importance of sleep, but there's still a lot we don't know. How do we form memory? That's also something we don't know in the brain. So what kind of diet is important? We have some idea, but in some region that's still like controversial, that one is better than the other one is better than the other. So there's still a lot we don't know. That's the need, that's the condition of physiology, that's the body's function. Every day, scientists learn new knowledge about the physiology. And the physiology is very important in the way that this is about our body. So the better you know your body, the better you can handle it, the better you can enjoy it. And also that you will know how to live a better life, how you can apply this to your family member, use this concept, this knowledge to help people sick. So this is important. All right, let's get started. So we will talk about these different topics: introduction, level of organization. This means from the large, like body, to organ, to the cells, to the cellular organelles, so to the proteins, chemicals. So we will probably bring it from the lowest to the highest. So you will learn the very basic level. My plan is that we will probably finish all this molecular cellular level in the first week. And then the next week, we will start to talk about the organ system, something more tangible. But in the first week, we need to lay that foundation. And then we will talk about the characteristics of life. What does it mean, life? It means that compared to death, right? So something has life, something doesn't have life. What's the boundary? What do you define a life? So that also get to the foundation of the physiology, because the physiology is a function of a living thing. Basically, the physiology is the living thing of human. Biology is more like the function of a living thing, but physiology is only for human. Sorry. And then we talk about the very basic one, homeostasis. All right, let's get started. So physiology, in the beginning, it comes with the combination is the other side of the physiology is anatomy. So these two like work together. In the beginning, people learn the anatomy start at about a very long time back to like 16,000 BC in Rome. People start to look into the body structure and get the idea that how this body function works. And then we have the anatomy, which is the structure. Then we want to understand how this works, because if it's just structure we can just build it ourselves, right? It's like a robot, but it's not. It's very, very special combination of these different compartments and provide a function. And that function is the physiology. So, so the physiology is a function, body function, and this function is built based on the following, like basic science, physics, right? Physics is like structure, how structure move, like that kind of relationship. So like a fluid physics, right? That affects our blood flow, that affects our lung to take in the air. So that concept can be applied to the human function, chemistry. A lot of enzyme reactions are chemistry, particularly the biochemistry. So like a protein structure, and also how this protein is synthesized, how protein is modified to conduct this function, how enzyme reacting with different substrates to provide the energy or to produce like different functions. So that's also basically we lay that foundation on the biochemistry, so we can apply this concept into physiology. Genetics, it's been like a very hot topics. Recently, we have the like gene-wide research to look into people genes, and the purpose of that genetic study is trying to understand disease related to genes. Because before that, someone will develop heart disease. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death. But someone doesn't. Someone who smoke develop lung disease, but someone doesn't. And some people develop, nowadays people, Alzheimer's disease, the dementia is becoming more and more prevalent, that people are getting older and the dementia become a big burden to the society. But some people develop the Alzheimer's, but some people don't. Why is that? And a lot of genetic disease. So we want to know that whether this is can be traced from our gene. So there are a lot of genetic studies going on. But later we will learn that genetic doesn't define you. Gene doesn't define you. Gene has influence. But there are a lot of genes. Genes not necessary to be expressed. Even you have that gene, even the person may have the gene, have a tendency to develop, diseases, but not necessary to be expressed. And the cell, molecular biology. So this is coming from the biology. So physiology is basically built based on these different nature science principles that help us to understand body function. So that's physiology. So physiology is kind of like an umbrella trying to use this basic science to understand body's function. So the body has this structure, anatomy, and then the function, the physiology. So by knowing that, I would assume you guys already take the anatomy before, right? You already know that some basic concept about this anatomy, body's parts, organ. You don't need to necessarily know like the name of each bone, but at least you need to know that where is lung, where is kidney, where is different organs located, right? Heart. We are going to talk a lot about heart. So you need to know that anatomy. If you don't, don't throw away your anatomy book because we are going to need it. You are going to review it. So the level of the organization coming from the lowest, the chemical level, atomic level, and then to the molecular level, including a lot of organic molecule such as proteins, lipid, carbohydrates, right? And then cell is built upon that chemicals, and we have the cellular function. Each cell is the unit, the basic unit of life. So our body basically are built based on these cells. Cell has smallest functional unit in an organism. Yeah, so we will learn about these cells. Cell have different cell organelles. We will learn those. And then we will probably spend like the next 4 lectures talking about cells. And then we have the tissue level. From the cells to the tissue. We have 4 types of like tissue. Epithelial tissue. This is the interface of different organ system. So epithelial tissue built based on the epithelium, the epithelial cells. The muscle tissues provide the movement. We have 3 types of muscle cells. Skeletal muscle cells. This is the voluntary movement. Smooth muscle cells are the one that control the major one is in the gastrointestinal system, our digestive system. Those muscles contract and are used to digest our food. And also the 3rd type of muscle is the cardio muscle system. This is also not controlled by our voluntary movement. It's pumped by itself. So we have 3 types of muscle. And the connective tissue are these tissue connected. So each organ are, although we can study it as an individual organ, but we need to remember that they work together to communicate with each other. So this connective tissue include this bone and also blood vessel. And then we have this nervous tissue. Nervous tissue, different from the other tissue, is that nervous tissue communicate through the electric pulse. So one cell will send out an electric pulse to the other cell, So nervous system is very much like our like a landline that one organ can dial call to the other organ through this electric core, electric signal core. So that's different tissue, and then we build our organs based on this tissue. For example, that say in the lung, in the liver, or in the heart, it's not just the muscle, but also epithelium, but also nerve, and also blood supply. So each organ basically built based on these different type of tissues. And then this organ can provide its unique function. Then we also have this organ system. So 2-3 organs may work together to conduct its organ system. So for example, the gastrointestinal system, that is the GI system, that is the organ system to digest the food, digesting and absorb the nutrients from the food. It's very important. Not a single organ can complete this job, but they have to work together, so it's an organ system. Our body have about 11 different organ systems. So this class is an entry level of physiology. We will only talk about those important ones. But if you happen to attend later in the future to an advanced like graduate school or something, you will take physiology again, and you will get into learn maybe one specific organ system and to know more about it. So it really depends on your future career. Could be the neurophysiology, that you study the nervous system altogether. Could be the exercise physiology, and that's a combination of 2-3 different organ systems work together. So then organism level is the whole body. Like this one will bring to the next topic, that's the homeostasis, that how our body function very harmonic and a very coordinate way, that all different organ system is like there is no boss in our body. There is no like factory manager or someone there to order things, to move things around, but our body kind of like work together to maintain this life for several years. So that's very amazing, that how do they work together? That's the organism system, organism level. So the way to characterize life that has this different like, so this is very much like thinking about what does it mean life. So here, so after years of like thinking, people come out with this idea about or how to define the life. First, you need to have a boundary. So that's you have to be able to identify it from other part. Like if it's all connected together, it's not life. It has to be isolated, be able to be identified as an isolated part. So it has to have the boundary. Like our human, we have the skin to separate us inside and outside. So cell has cell membrane. So that's a boundary. Life also means that this piece is able to conduct a movement. So basically, that not just we as a multicellular organism can move, single cell can also move. So those from the cell to our human organism are all considered as life, or and then to be responsiveness, that we can respond to the environment, response to the stimulus. So we need to be able to sense things and provide the feedback. And that is very important because the environment change all the time. Weather can be cold, can be hot, but we need to maintain our body's function very much consistently. So we need to be able to respond to the environment in order to make adequate change inside of our body in order to maintain that condition. So we need to, in order to do that, we need to build a sense mechanism. We have about 5 different types of sensors in our body. We can smell, that's chemoreceptor. We need to be able to withdraw our body from the pain stimulus. So we have this withdrawal reflex that keep us from damaging to our body, and also we need to have this homeostatic feedback mechanism, such as the one to respond to the CO2. That's that if our body's CO2 level is high, meaning that we produce a lot of CO2 in our body, meaning that we consume or utilize a lot of the energy, then we need to respond to that in order to remove our CO2. And the way to do that is that we will have this mechanism kind of like automatically, we will start to breathe more. We will start to breathe faster, breathe larger in order to breathe out this CO2. So for example, when you do the exercise, when you're running, right? And then your body burns a lot of this glucose, then you generate a lot of CO2, and then this increased density concentration of CO2 in the blood will then trigger your brain to force to reflect to that in order to provide your lung to expand larger and faster in order to breathe out that CO2. So all together is to maintain our body's function in order to live in a changing world. We need to be able to digest. We need to be able to take the energy, and not just take, we need to chew it. We need to break it down. So when we take the food is a large, like a molecule, for example, then we need to break it down in order to convert it to become like smaller molecule. Then our intestine will be able to absorb it. If it's very large, our body cannot absorb it. So we need to digest it through our GI system, gastrointestinal system, through the physical grinding or chemical using enzyme to break it down. And then we can absorb it. Then we can use that energy or nutrients in our body for our cells to use. Metabolism is that we need to be able to break down this molecule, or in some sense, we need to combine them together to form a new molecule. So that chemical reaction all together is the metabolism. And so this metabolism includes two different directions. One is to break down from large molecule to small molecule, for example, from the sucrose to glucose and the fructose. So to make a monomer, then our body can absorb it. That's breakdown direction. Another direction is to combine this monomer to form another large molecule. And the purpose of that is that we need to use this monomer. And this monomer doesn't have the spatial function. They can be, it's like a different pieces of like bricks. So we can put them together and to build a different like castle, car, something. And for example, that protein, we can combine the majority part of these amino acids, and we can connect them together and form this new tool, this enzyme, then that can serve a different function. For example, an important enzyme we will study is the insulin. That basically is that we eat, we have the nutrients. These nutrients has very basic form like amino acids. Then we can, so that breaking down is the catabolism. Then we can put them all together again to form this insulin. Then this insulin has different function. Insulin is a key to allow our cells to take into the glucose. In addition to that catabolism, anabolism, we also will burn this fuel to produce ATP. ATP is a very basic form of this chemical that our cell use to produce energy, to burn, to convert that chemical energy into the cell function. So, and also this metabolism are regulated by hormones. In the later course, we will talk about the hormone, we will talk about the endocrine system. So that's all about this metabolism. Life can also not just isolated like organism, but it has the function to respond. But it can also excrete. So if we observe a new organism, we want to know whether that's life or it's not life. We will see whether it's produce something out of it. Like us, we produce CO2, urea, and the fibers. So we have these waste products from a live organism. And also life has function to reproduce. This reproduce come into two forms. One is cellular reproduction. So cell reproduce, life, that's the nature of life, they reproduce. And so in our body, our cell reproduce, not just cellular reproduction, we also have organism reproduction that one human will produce more humans, for example. So so that's the one characteristic of life. Also, as a life, it will grow as size. It getting from small to get bigger, or it can be growing by the number of cells combined together. So that's the several characteristics of life. To allow the life to happen, this environment needs to have some support to that. For example, these environments like in the Earth, probably only one planet, as far as we can understand, is the only planet can support this life activity, it has to have nutrients. It has to have oxygen, water, and also temperature has to be suitable for life to, for this chemical reaction to happen in the life. And also the atmospheric pressure has to be appropriate. So that's this, living organ system. And also we need to have that environment to support that. So an important function, an important aspect of the physiology is the homeostasis. The idea of the homeostasis is that how can our body maintain this consistent environment in the world that can change all the time. So that's the basic idea about the homeostasis. So it means that because if we don't maintain, if one of our cells, for example, if one of our cells are stay on the table, it will die very quickly. But if we keep all these cells in the body, they work together to maintain a constant temperature, a constant CO2 level, a constant O2 level in our blood, so all the cells can survive for many years. So that's the amazing part of our body, is that there's no manager living here, or mom, right, to take care of the house, that living there to make sure that you have to throw away that trash, you have to go shopping, you have to mow lawn, something, right? We don't have that. Nobody really is the boss here to tell different organs to do what, to conduct this connection. So that's the homeostasis. So with this homeostasis, there are several concepts that you need to know. One is that the first one is that set point. This regulation can be considered as an auto-regulation, intrinsic regulation, basically that our body will regulate. Let's go into and also it's extrinsic regulation is controlled by the nerves and the endocrine system. Let's get into the key here is that the very first thing you need to know is that there's a concept called set point. Let me write down. In work. All right. Sorry. Let's see if I can. Okay, hang on a second. Maybe that's how this one works. Animation. Okay, see if this thing works. Okay, all right, hope this works. So very first thing you need to know is that we have this. We have this. It's called set point. We have this set point. our body has this concept called set point. So the set point is the standard that our body need to maintain. For example, our body temperature. Our body temperature could be, say, 98 Fahrenheit. And so this is a set point. And if it's high, then we will bring it down. If it's low, we will bring it up. So the set point is something that we have. Is like a standard value that our body knows. Our body knows that what is the right middle of those value. And so if it change, our body will respond to it. So that's the very first thing you need to know, that the set point. The next thing is you need to know is the term called error. So what this error means is that the deviation from the set point. For example, when it increase, when the body temperature increase. For example, if you are exercising, your muscle will move a lot. That movement generate heat, your body temperature will increase. This increase is called an error. Same thing here, if the body temperature decrease, this decrease is also an error. So error can be plus, could be minus. Any measured value deviate away from the set point is called an error. So that's two very important things you need to know. And the following that is that we need to know that, okay, we know the goal is to bring our body back to the set point. But how? Is there a general mechanism our body would do to bring back this value back to the set point? Yes. So the way to do that is that first, you have to first know, your body has to first know there is an error. If it doesn't know, then he cannot change. It's like, if you don't know the problem, you cannot fix the problem, right? That's very, very basic idea. So our body need to know there is an error. And to know that is very important is the very third one, is called the sensor. So sensor is the key. So that's the three very, very important thing. You need to, our body has a set point. All this physiological value has a set point. And but error happens all the time. Is called a dynamic equivalent, that is a set point, but it's not fixed. Our body, these values variate all the time, but when it's deviate away from the set point, our body will respond to it to bring it back. And to detect this error, this is the error, to detect the error, our body need to have the sensor. And then it will cause our body to bring this value to reduce the error and to bring the value back to the set point. So that's the basic feedback loops of an homeostatic. So let's look at this. So that's three very important things you need to know. Set point, error. Error could be a plus or could be negative. And if it's plus, we bring it back. If it's negative, it brings it back. that bring back is the homeostatic loop. And in order to make this happen, we must have the sensor. Sensor is a physical thing. It's a real like stuff. Error set points are measurement. Those are value, but sensor is physical stuff that it will detect this this error and bring it back to the set point. The sensor, for example, our body has several important sensors. Every sense we have is from the sensor. The common one is the chemoreceptor. This chemoreceptor in our body, we can detect, for example, we can detect H plus acidic level, and that related to the CO2. When CO2 is high, acidic level also increased, and that can be detected by the chemoreceptor. We also have the mechanoreceptor. Mechanoreceptor detect the push, pressure. The common one is the baroreceptor. So the baroreceptor detect blood pressure. So when the blood pressure increased, it will detect it. This baroreceptor usually located in our aortic arch and carotid sinus in the blood, in the arterial blood vessel. So those are the sensor, and these are the physical thing that we can, if we do the digestion, we can find it, and it's there. It's amazing, like so small. It's like in the real world, any sensor is huge. Not like, even though you think it's very small, but compared to our body's cellular level, these sensors are much smaller and also very reliable. It works all the time. It works many years. So those are the sensors. All right, so that is that. And so this loop, let's look at this loop. This loop we have, so the key here is the sensor. So here's a sensor. Why is that? Okay, I need to bring this one back. Okay, annotation. All right. Okay, so the key here is the sensor. Sensor detect. You can call it stimulus, but stimulus is good term. That any stimulus can trigger the sensor. So like if you touch it, it will trigger your sensor in the skin. If you put clothes on, your sensor will detect that. Your body's getting warmer, you will detect that. So that's sensor. But here, to fit this one into this concept, this particular one to provide the homeostasis is the stimulus from the air. So this is basically the stimulus compare the set point. So if compare with the set point, if it's high, then it's error. If it's low, it's an error. If not, it equal to the stimulus, equal to the set point, then it will not trigger everything following. But only if it's an error, then the sensor will send signal into the integrator. This integrator is usually in the brain. For example, in this case, like chemoreceptor it will detect the CO2 level in the blood. If it's high, then it will tell the brain in the lower part of brainstem, medulla. Then it would send signal into the lung, acts on the muscle to cause us to breathe more. And the other one example is the baroreceptor. This one detects the blood pressure. For example, that if we suddenly, like say we lay down and suddenly standing up, when we stand up, a lot of blood remain in the lower extremity, then our blood pressure will be low. And then this baroreceptor will detect that lower blood pressure. If we don't respond to it, we will feel fainting because we don't have enough blood into the brain, and we may fall. So we don't want that happen. So our baroreceptor will detect that reduced blood pressure, and also then only if there is an error, so there is a set point of the blood pressure in the normal people is within like 90, 90 to 140. So the systemic and diastolic blood pressure. And so if it's above or lower than that set point, then it will generate this error. Then baroreceptor will detect that error, sent to the brain. Brain will then trigger the sympathetic nerve to act on the heart to pump harder. When it pumps harder, blood pressure increase. So the brain, again, send the central sympathetic nerve. And then in either case, it will act on the effector. This effector usually is an organ, peripheral organ. And in many cases, this is about the muscle, or it could be the endocrine. Great. To produce the response. For example, here effector is, if it's breathing, the effector is the muscle to control the lung, control the ventilation. If it's heart rate, it will be the heart muscle to contract harder. And the response basically is to reduce, the purpose is to cause a result. Result is to remove or reduce the error. So to bring this value back to the set point. As that. So from here, you need to memorize several things. One is the set point. Set point, the standard our body know. This set point could be it will be consistent, could be almost constant for each individual, but this set point could be vary in different gender, in different age, in different condition. I mean, like different people. But for each individual, that set point will be very much the same. And then you need to know what's its error. The error is that difference, this difference. And then you need to know that this homeostatic loop start by, basically the key here is the sensor, and then you have the to detect that error. The sensor, the common one you will see in the exam, are basically these two. Chemoreceptor to detect the CO2. This is about the lung function. Mechanoreceptor in the baroreceptor. Don't worry about the mechanoreceptor, but just baroreceptor is that sensor to detect the blood pressure. So one is the lung, one is the heart. And then effector, integrator in the brain. the effector is different organ, peripheral organ, then response is to reduce this error. That's that. Ooh. All right, I need to clean this one here. Let me see. Okay. That one. All right. Notation. Erase. Can I erase all? Clear all drawing. All right. So that's that. So here is a diagram showing you that here is the receptor, the receptor detect these. We have the world provide the stimulus or stress. Then we compare that with the set point. If it's different, then it will send out this error to, it will detect this as an error. Sorry. So here it will detect this as an error. And so the different, and then it will send to the sensor. Sensor is a receptor. Then it will send to the integrator, then respond to it. So clear drawing. So this is another way to look at this homeostatic feedback. We have the stimulus, sensor detect the difference of the value compared with the set point. So you need to know that here we have, let me do this one here, it's easier. All right. Sorry. So we have this arrow and let me bring this back. I don't think that's. There's a point, yeah. So we have, so basically that when here's set point, the difference between the measured and the set point is the error. Then if there is an error, the sensor will send it to the integrator. The receptor, we have several different kind of receptor, chemoreceptor, mechanoreceptor, will send it. You need to be able to identify the sensor and the what's the sensor and where is the location. For example, the chemoreceptor is located in our. We have several chemoreceptors. In fact, we have one in peripheral and also the one in the brain that detect the CO2. Basically, it detects the acidic level, detect the CO2. Another one is a baroreceptor, detect the blood pressure, and the location is in the aortic arch and carotid artery. So we need to know that, and then it's sent to the integrator. Integrator usually is in the brain, and then it will send signal into the effector. Usually it's through the it's through the autonomic nervous system from the brain, right? So that's a nervous system, and in the nervous system, we can send out a voluntary movement that's our brain decide that we need to make that movement, or we can send out an autonomic movement, like control our heart rate, control our breathing, and then our organ will respond to it, and the result is to reduce that error. You will see this one again in the lab. In the lab, the very first lab is about the homeostasis, and so you will do this one again. And so the key here is these three. Set point. You need to know, you need to have that concept, set point. And then the second thing is the error. And the third thing is the sensor. And the sensor is very important because that's an easy, like it's a question, it's quizzable. And we can ask you that what's the sensor to detect the blood pressure? Baroreceptor. What's the sensor to detect the CO2 level? The chemoreceptor. So that sensor, and the remaining is less that is important but less quizzable. So for the exam, you need to know that these sensors, what are basically these two sensors, and also you need to have the concept about the set point and the error. Error is so here we will have if the feedback is to reduce this error, is called negative feedback, meaning that if it's increased, the errors increase, we bring it back, so it's a negative response. Majority of homeostatic is to bring it back. If it's low, we bring it up. If it's high, we bring it down. So that is a negative feedback. Some situation we may see positive feedback that if it's high, we make it higher. So it will make this value to be even deviated away from the set point. 99% is not positive feedback. The majority is a negative feedback because we want to maintain the consistent body condition. So if the error is high, is plus, we bring it back. If the value is low, so error is negative, we bring it up. So it's a negative feedback. So if you see a question like to maintain a homeostatic feedback, whether we typically use a negative feedback or positive feedback, the answer is the negative feedback, okay, negative feedback. So these two feedbacks, negative feedback is very common, the most common one. That's how things work. If it's high, we bring it down. If it's low, you bring it up. So it's always negative feedback. There are some rare situations is the positive feedback. So the change will be amplified. Like if it's high, then our response is making it higher. So that change can be made amplified. There are some examples. Some example is one example that we will learn is the blood, like blood clotting. Once this platelet is activated, it means that there is a tissue damage. And then it will be positive. It will cause more platelet to be activated in order to seal this damaged vessel. So that positive feedback is required in order to amplify that change. And the result is to help to preserve this blood to stay in the vessel. Otherwise, if one is activated, then it's removed, then there will be leakage. But this positive feedback help us to, once one of the platelet is activated, means that it detects there's leakage. And so it will call out all the surrounding platelet to become activated. And then they are all become like energized, work together to seal the blood vessel wall. But at this point, let's not worry about the positive feedback right now, because we are going to spend almost an hour talking about the blood vessel. So the key here is that almost all these homeostatic are conducted by the negative feedback. All right, we talked about this one already. The set point is the ideal value. The error is that deviation. The important thing is that this error means that it can be bring back. So this is not a sickness. This is not disease. Disease means that what's a disease and the error is the difference between the disease and the error is that the error is something that our body capable to remove, to reduce, to bring it back. The disease is a situation that our body cannot. It's just way too much. If someone is in a fever, over that is that error body temperature increase too much, then we cannot. Our body just by itself cannot bring it back. Then we need to take medicine. So that's the disease, that's a sickness. And if it's in the normal range, our body can manage it. It's called an error. So the next term is, so the temperature, let's see, what's that? Okay, so the next term, the next term is the disturbance. So the disturbance is the disease or sickness. So we have two terms. One is the error. Error means that it can be fixed by our body. The disturbance is that we cannot. We have to have some other like intervention in order to bring it back. So that is important part. Let me see, let me write down, see if I can write down here. So here one is the, all right. So one is the disturbance and the V versus error. So disturbance is that our homeostatic mechanism cannot bring it back. The error is that we have a built system to remove this error back to the set point. And the disturbance basically is just, this is too large of an error that our body cannot bring it back. All right, so that's very important too. So question would be that, which one is related to the sickness or disease, error or disturbance? Is a disturbance, okay? All right, let's erase, clear everything, and then let's see. Previous slides. So let's see this example, example one, the temperature. So basically that our skin, okay, you need to be able to identify the location and the sensor. This sensor is the thermoreceptor in the skin, and it will detect the error if the body temperature is high, and then it will send signal into the thalamus in the brain. Thalamus is part of the brain, and the response to increase the vessel diameter to allow more blood going to the skin. By doing so, we can distribute our heat from our core into the skin and to let it evaporate. And also sweat, we will use the sweating to reduce this excessive temperature from the body. And then, so by doing so, we can reduce this heat and bring the body temperature back to the set point. Example 2 is the glucose level. So our body need to maintain a certain level of this glucose in the blood. So there is a set point. If this blood glucose level is high, we need to reduce it. If it's low, we need to increase it. A common situation is high, that when we eat, all of a sudden we have a lot of glucose in the body. And so here is a situation that that we have a lot of glucose. Let's see that. Let's do that. So our blood, when we eat, our blood has a lot of glucose. Okay, and when our blood has a lot of glucose, someone has to detect it. This one. So what's the sensor? What's the receptor to detect this a lot of amount of the glucose? So the question is that sensor. What's the sensor? What's the receptor? So the sensor receptor here in our body is in the pancreas. It's called the beta cell. So this is called the beta cell. Beta cells. This beta cell is unique in a way that oops. All right, let me write again. Let me draw it again. Don't worry. Okay, so this beta cell has a door or window. Specifically, welcome glucose to go in. So glucose surrounding in the blood, but in the capillary is porous. You know, the vessel is not fully like a sealed, so substance can diffuse out, right? And then this glucose will then allowed because we just eat. You just go to the meal, you just eat. You have a lot of glucose. Then this glucose will diffuse into the beta cell. Not many cells has this kind of opening to the glucose. A lot of cells control how many glucose can go into the cell. But beta cell is different. Beta cell is opening to the glucose. There's no border, no checkpoint, something. Glucose can diffuse in. So beta cell is the sensor. That is a receptor because it can detect glucose. And here is a response. So when beta cell detect glucose, this glucose will X to make this beta cell to release insulin. To release insulin. So you will have a lot of insulin. That's insulin that's used triangular to go out. So that is the receptor. Integrator is inside of the beta cell. The response is the insulin. Then the insulin will act on, say, muscle cells. So this is a muscle cell. And this insulin will act on it. Insulin is like a key, open door for glucose. So insulin acts on the muscle, open the door, will allow this excessive glucose to go in the muscle cell. And that way, our body can take this glucose into where it's needs most. In the muscle cells, in the liver, we will convert them into the glycogen. We will talk about the glycogen later. But at this point, you know that when we eat, we need to store this glucose. We store them, and in order to store them, we need to be able to respond to this increased amount of glucose. The sensor will be the beta cell. Effector is the beta cell. The response is the insulin. And the insulin acts on the muscle cells. Insulin acts on the muscle cells, open the door, glucose can go in. And with that, we will be able to store it later when our blood vessel, our blood glucose level is low. We can then move this glucose back to the body, and the body can live even in the starving condition, in the fasting condition. So this glucose will store in the muscle as well as the fat cell. Glucose go in through the key, the insulin will open it. Glucose go in, will then be converted into the fat and stored in the fat cell. So the more you eat, the more you can store this glucose as a fat in your fat cells. So that's that. Let me erase it all, clear all drawing. Okay, now next page. Next page, right? Blood glucose. So blood glucose level change when we eat. There's normal range of the blood glucose level is 70 to 110 milligram per deciliter. And it's very important. Glucose is important to generate body energy. Particularly, glucose will be burned to produce ATP. We will learn about this metabolism later, maybe tomorrow or something. It's important for brain function because brain needs glucose. Then this glucose error, this deviation can be detected by the beta cell located in the pancreas. In the pancreas, there is group of cells called islet of Langerhans. I would not worry about this term right now. You just need to, because we will learn about this beta cell when we talk about this endocrine system. But at this point, you just need to remember that it is the beta cell. Here you go, the beta cell located in islet of Langerhans in the pancreas. So islet of Langerhans is important, but what's more important is that you need to know that these beta cells are in the beta cells of the pancreas, please, because that is anatomy, you will, I guarantee you will see this one in the quiz, that what is a cell response to the increased amount of blood glucose? It's beta cell. You will have the questions with the answers from alpha cell, beta cell, delta cell, gamma cell, for example, and which one responds for the increased glucose level in the blood, that is the beta cell, okay? And where is it located? In the pancreas. You're drawing, all right? Then it will release insulin in the blood, acts on the adipocyte, that is fat cells, muscle cells, liver cells. The purpose is that these beta cells in the insulin acts like a key to open the door so glucose can go in. And then these cells are beta cells, only very small in our body. They cannot take too much of the glucose. But we do have a lot of muscle cells. Liver cells also amazing, that the largest organ in the body. Not like the largest, but very large in the body. And because some others say that skin is largest organ in the body. So the liver is large, so it can take a lot of glucose. Adipocyte is also amazing. Single adipocyte, the fat cells can store a lot of fat, and it can duplicate. We have the way to produce more of these adipocytes when it's needed. Of course, we can do the same thing with the muscle cells. Muscle can grow too, so we can store this glucose. Cells then uptake glucose. Adipocytes will then convert glucose into the fat. Liver and muscle cells take glucose, convert them into the glycogen. Don't worry about this mechanism right now, glucose to fat, glucose to glycogen. We will talk about this. This basically is a process called the catabolism. Anabolism. Catabolism is breakdown. Anabolism is assembly together. So let me double check. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So yeah, catabolism is breaking it down. Sucrose to glucose and fructose. Anabolism is put them all together. So here we have an example of the anabolism, that glucose can be converted into fat or to the glycogen and stored in the cells. And then we can reduce that blood glucose level to the normal range. That is the set point, okay? So if we have the blood glucose level 120, set point is 110, sorry. Then what is the error? What is the error? What is the set point? Set point is 110. Then what is the error? The error is plus 10, because this is what we measure. This is set point. The error is not 0. If it's 0, it will not trigger anything. The error is plus 10. Only if it's not 0, then it will trigger the sensor and go and produce this chain reaction. So the error is plus 10. If the blood glucose level is, say, 100, then the error would be minus 10. And that will trigger a different set of homeostatic food loop. And so that is a situation that this error is manageable, or our body can respond it without any disturbance, without any intervention. But there is a situation that our body cannot respond to that. And the blood glucose level continuously accumulate, continuously increase. And that is a situation cause the disease, that our body cannot respond to it just by itself. And then this is commonly called the diabetes. There are two types of diabetes mellitus. There are two types of diabetes, but just diabetes mellitus, there are two types, type 1, type 2. But either one, that we will have this hyperglycemia, that too much of this glucose in the blood. And then, because our body cannot respond to it accurately, we will need to take medication. We need to have the intervention. And that is a disease. So we have type 1, type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is that beta cell is damaged. Usually it's caused by the autoimmune disease. It cannot generate insulin. Type 2 is this one here. Type 2 is that our cell doesn't respond to insulin. It's called insulin resistance. It doesn't respond to the insulin. So it lost the sensitivity to insulin. So even insulin is produced, beta cell is normal, like in type 2, but this insulin cannot open the door because the door is just it's not sensitive to the insulin. Even we have a lot of keys, it cannot open it. And either situation, we have increased blood glucose level. So we have the increased blood glucose level. That's it. So a quick summary. A quick summary about this portion is that let's see. This portion is that so this is the homeostasis. We have about like 27 slides. The key here is that you need to know that very important is this homeostatic loop. Because the thing is that you will do this in the lab. You will, because we don't have real lab, but we still need to, do this virtual lab. When you do it, I will have another video to describe what to do with the lab, the first lab, the homeostatic lab. So you need to know, and these are the region that you will see in the questions. That what is a set value? Set value is a standard in the body. What is an error? Error is the deviation from the normal. And what's the difference between error and the disturbance? Error is that our body can bring it back. Disturbance is the sickness that our body cannot bring it back. So, and then the sensor, you need to know these two sensors, or maybe three. Three sensors are, one is the CO2 for the breathing, baroreceptor. CO2 is the chemoreceptor, baroreceptor is for the blood pressure. And the third one, we just learned, the thermoreceptor is in the skin and in the hypothalamus. So those are the sensor. And those are the questions that you will see, the typical question you will see that, what is the sensor? What is the sensor for the glucose? Beta cells. Yeah, so something like that. So this portion, homeostatic loop, is the region where you will see a lot of questions. The earlier portion is a concept. This is more like a transition from the biology to the physiology. But following that, the homeostatic become very important because this is more relevant to our own human body. So different animal, of course, have its own different emphasis about this homeostatic. But in human, we are very important. These areas are very important in human body, including the CO2 level, including the glucose level, because these are all like energy related, temperature level. So that is that. All right. Let me know if you have any questions, okay? We will have the office hour, Monday, Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. and also 1 to 2 p.m. And also you can email me whenever you have any questions. All right, that's it. Where I can start recording.